Yeah.
And this, like I said, I liked it. This was a very good looking movie too. There was the special effects were pretty nice. Though it was kind of weird too because, as I said, I'm an engineer. I know science and all that stuff. And so when he first gets to Mars, he has trouble walking because, of course, this is different gravity, and it's understandable.
He basically has superpowers on Mars, and the explanation is that there's less gravity, and his body is
super strong,
built to function on Earth, so it's like tougher and stronger, and he can jump farther and all that. But the gravity differential isn't that great.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. Do you think that was in the original book then, or something? That he was like.
Oh yeah, that was in the book.
Okay.
There were
because I don't know if they could calculate how dense Mars was at the time or something like that, but
yeah.
Or if the gravitational constant would be. And again, this is a movie where he goes to Mars and he finds four-armed aliens there, so I guess they can't really ask for too much.
That's one of my problems with the movie, though, is that they do the effects of him jumping pretty well. It seems like it's mostly practical, mostly wire stuff, not CG, which is cool. It looks nice. But they seem to go out of their way to find reasons for him to jump somewhere. You know? Like, his fighting style is primarily land in the middle of something, slash it a bunch of times, jump to the next place, you know? And
yeah, I think this will make a pretty good video game if I ever get that far, but
yeah, it would make an interesting video game. And so that kind of, after a while, that kind of got to me. I'm not sure if the dog lizard thing was in the original book, but that struck me as kind of off, kind of just...
yeah, there's this... When he first gets to the Mars, he's more or less captured by these four-armed aliens and treated like a little baby of theirs, which apparently has really weird raising rituals. But it's... and they're guarded by, like you said, this big lizard salamander dog. And when he jumps, the dog always gets to wherever he is, because the dog is like supersonic fast or something like that. It's...
Yeah.
It can literally just, run up an entire building, like that. It's...
Yeah, if the dog is in the original book, then I'm cool with it. You can't really do much about it. But if he was added for the movie, I think that was a mistake. I don't think it added all that much to the movie.
Well, it was necessary, because in the end, he's the guy who rescued him from one of the monks.
Yeah, but he performed one, essential function, and that could have been changed to anyone else,
I don't know. I mean, the monk...
Him saving him from the monk, the lizard thing saving him from the monk, seemed to me like a justification for having the lizard dog in it,
Well, I mean, it seems to me that you can't really sneak up on these guys too well. They're very in control of their surroundings. The only way you could get the drop on them is to be, somewhere and be right upon them in an instant, and that seemed practical to me. I don't know. I mean... And I personally didn't find him annoying, but then again, I don't find the Ewoks annoying, so... But...
Yeah. It's not that I found him annoying, it's just that it just seemed like a cutesy addition that didn't really match the tone of the rest of the...
Yeah, and knowing Disney, that probably was what happened, but...
Yeah, so I'd like to look into that. I'd like to find that out. One of the things they did in this movie that I thought was pretty effective was that they had shown the human-like aliens earlier, but the first time you see the four-armed, green-skinned, tusked things is the first time John Carter sees them. And I thought that was pretty cool. I think it would have been better if they weren't all over the trailers and on the poster and everything. And, showing it to someone for the first time 5 or 6 years from now, their reaction will probably be pretty good to that. I thought that was pretty cool. Let's see, anything else? Or, generally, I liked that this was a fantasy movie that wasn't basically set in the Lord of the Rings world,
Yeah, it's I think you said something about this earlier, is that, the best sci-fi films could have been easily fantasy films too.
Oh, the best sci-fi movies are fantasies. They're just set in a sci-fi environment.
Yeah.
With the exception of Star Trek. Star Trek's pure sci-fi, and it's pretty good.
Yeah, and this has this book was written in the 1910s, right? It was
1900s.
I thought this was like the 100th anniversary of the book or something like that.
I thought the first one was like 1904 or something like that, but I could be wrong.
Because this has a very steampunkish quality to it, at least in this telling of it. So...
Well, it's a very influential book, so it could very well have played a big part in influencing the steampunk aesthetic, you know? Or it could just be artistic decisions made by the director.
Yeah, either way, though, it's still... I mean, like I said, it's the airships they have are very, very creative. It's the control scheme, the way they look, the way they fly, the way they fly on light.
There were a couple things in here that were really cool, where... well, there were some things that like made sense as an alternative development of the same technology. Like the steering wheels on their airships were like giant wheels that they turn like that, as opposed to, you know, spoked sailing wheels. But some of the other ones just struck me as kind of silly, like the doors.
They open...
They had their hinge like in the center.
Yeah.
It was like a secret doorway hidden in a wall, you know? And...
I think they're just like trying to be really creative with that, trying to like establish this like a place that's not Earth.
Yeah, I can see that they were like, okay, let's rethink everything. How could this work differently? Because they wouldn't have developed along the same path as ours and all that. I get that. It's just that just struck me as really silly.
And one other problem I have with this is that it uses the trope of the passionate princess.
I feel like that was changed. I feel like that was like a modernization thing to make the princess more than, you know, the damsel in distress thing. Because in this,
I'm not talking about her fighting prowess. I'm talking about her passion. This is a trope I've seen before in like literature and movies, where like there's this like character. She's a nobleman or a princess, someone really high ranking in the upper echelons of society, and she's so passionate about her people and about the plight of the suffering and like that, and just, I guess I'm not asking her to be an asshole, just like Jesus, lady, tone it down or something. You know?
I think that's one of those things you kind of have to do, at least for an American audience, to make them accept the noble that basically gets everything from birth kind of thing.
Yeah, I just find it annoying.
I can get that. For me, it seemed like I felt like the whole thing with her fighting was something they tacked on to make her more than a damsel in distress. You know,
because her actual title is not, in addition to princess, is professor of the university.
Yeah, she's like the head of scientific research.
On
that
helium.
Would have been enough. You know,
yeah,
that would have been enough to make her more than a damsel in distress and all that. I don't know. It just felt like the producers were like, okay, we need our female lead to kick ass, you know? That struck me as off as well, but not enough to bother me too much, you know? Like I said, overall I really enjoyed it. I don't generally like the big blockbuster movies.
And I don't usually like Disney movies, but yeah, we both had fun doing this. It was
yeah, it was a good movie. I look forward to the sequel. I'm 90% certain there will be a sequel.
Disney.
Oh, I think there are like 30 books or something like that. There's like a crazy number of books, so
yeah,
there's material abounds. So yeah,
yeah, but I guess
it was good.
Yeah.